everyone.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you. Excellent. Great to see everyone.
Hi,
thank
everybody.
you for joining us on time. Hello, hello.
Hi, Elena. Hi, everyone.
Hello. We're starting in just 1 minute, so let's allow everyone to join, and we'll begin right away. Thank you. Welcome everyone in the Zoom chat for now. We're here in Israel. Costas is connecting. Are you in Greece, Costas, today?
I cannot say.
Yeah.
Security. No, yes, I am in Greece.
Okay. Good.
Now I'm in Greece. On Wednesday until Sunday, I will be in Barcelona.
Oh, nice. Oh.
So if everyone is in Barcelona.
Nice.
Do you have anyone from Barcelona here, from Spain?
I'm pretty sure that we have from Spain.
Okay, so we are almost done waiting, and I'm going to stop the music, stop the shared screen. Just welcome everyone again. Thank you for joining us on time. Thank you, thank you. Today's our second meeting in a series of weekly sessions devoted to AI for educators. Yes, the time is up. Oh, you live in Barcelona. Excellent. Happy to connect. Costas, you can...
No, I will be busy, but Barcelona is my favorite city since I was there as a postdoc for 1 year. I was living in Sagrada Familia, so whenever I'm coming to Barcelona, I'm feeling very happy, even though that I'm supporter of Real. This is a very big, very big mistake to do in Barcelona, but yes. Me gusta catalán, mucho.
So Professor Costas Petridis today is leading the second session. He has prepared a series of introductory sessions devoted to discussing the role of AI in higher education. After a few introductory sessions, week after week, we will move on to actual tools. I will be leading some of the sessions devoted to actual practical ways teachers can use AI for their different use cases, teaching, research, working with students, international communication, and so on and so forth. So thank you for joining us. I'm going to give the floor to Costas. You can share your screen. And
I would like to say also hi to Nikos Petrakis. Always feel happy to see Nikolaos. I don't know which camera he's looking, but he's looking at that. So let me let me share my screen. And, I hope that it will work. I have prepared some session, some material. So today we are going to continue, as Elena has mentioned, with some fundamentals, some discussions regarding today what is prompt engineering, what are prompts, what do we define as a prompt? Some examples on what kind of prompt, what is the construction of the prompt, different models on how to construct and engineer, this very fundamental input that we need to interact with the machines in order to provide us very useful and constructive outputs, and also how we can use AI in teaching regarding course curricula, lectures, how to design lecture assignments, exams. I don't know if within this hour I will manage to do, but and we'll have another session that I can complete this and also finalize with some tools regarding writing, scientific writing, proposals, and etc. And then I will provide the floor to Dr. Elena Mistrahi for specific tools. I will refer to some of them, but this is mainly a discussion that I will have with you on what are the important things in order to discuss. So let me start, let's say I have my clock. This is like 2 pictures, how the office was, I don't know, probably when my uncle was in the university. The second is like how I am still in the university. However, this is, how we should transform ourselves. So we need to apply our knowledge, our expertise, interacting and through using different kind of tools. And the new tool is not now the books, is not our notes. We can continue to use them, but the interaction and the leverage or in an appropriate and constructive way, as we have discussed, and we will discuss in the future about ethics of the AI in our courses. So AI is how can I say, a transformation factor even bigger than the digitalization. It can be used in order to respond to our emails, learning from the way and the tone that we are using, summarizing our documents, set up our assignments, creating new interactive activities, as we will see, and how, what kind of prompts we can use, or what kind of prompts do we suggest to you in our courses. So, I mean, it's something very transformative. So AI is getting better when we ask the appropriate questions. And this comes to me, what is prompt engineering? I was a little bit confused yesterday that I was preparing my lecture session today, my discussion with you. I mean, to start what is prompt or to start what is prompt engineering. So I decided to start what is prompt engineering, and it's like the way of thinking on how to set up these initial questions in order to maximize our collaboration and our co-innovation with the model that we are using. What kind of model we are going to use? We suggest to use the model that your university is using in order to avoid any kind of biasing that we don't want. And we have reported in the first course a lot of sources of biasing. So prompt engineering it becomes now, has been developed by a term, has been developed as a minor program, even as an undergraduate program, showing the importance on what kind of language we need to use in order to interact efficient in a collaborative way, in a constructive way with the model that we are using with machines. And we have said that the quality of our initial questions, the clarity, the coherence, how direct we are, how less we confuse the machine, provides more tailored and more constructive outputs. So we have various categories of probing. I will say probing, like the zero-shot probing. So we ask something. So for example, explain the impact of technology on modern education. So we are not providing any kind of example in order to define better what do we want, to define better the tone and the type of the response that the system will reply. This is called the zero-shot probing. I will say, I mean, a lot of people we are using here are also, it's a very good probing, as we will see, because we define what do we want from the machine to do. However, using an example provides a more tailored things on what we want. For example, here is like to use a single training example. So the direct way is explain the concept of the flipped classroom within an example, and then you can see a more a detailed kind of instruction that we are going to giving to him, to it, in order to provide us a better definition. So a training example that we are using in a flipped classroom, students learn new content through online lectures and videos at home, and class time is used for discussions and interactive activities. For example, a physics teacher might assign video lectures as a homework, and in class, students collaborate on experiments and problem solving. So we define him within an exam, and the system, in the second floor, training exam, so probably I should write training response, provide us, a more detailed instruction than to say, explain the concept of a flipped classroom, all right? So the other one is like to use few examples along with the prompt, and here is like there is a technique which is called chain of thought probing technique, and you can see if my transparency is very clear. However, I will upload them to the Moodle platform. You can see a standard prompt, explain the impact of artificial intelligence in the field of education, and you can see next, the response that ChatGPT can provide, and using a more thoroughly and explanatory way. For example, discuss the various ways artificial intelligence is transforming education. Consider aspects such as personalized learning, chatbot, administrative tasks, and online assessments. Provide specific examples and explore the potential benefits and challenges associated with each application. You can see the more detailed and the more directional response of the system. You can see it over there. As we will see, and now that we are going to give more exams and more types of probing, the more instructions we are providing to the system, the more detailed and the more, let's say, personalized and tailored response it will provide. So I will suggest, like, when you are using probe engineering, try to use examples on what do you want. The more examples, the better information you are going to provide. So what is prompt? I mean, it's like the wording that we are using in order to clarify what do we want, all right? I can see, I have placed something that stays on my mind under the picture on your left side. Good prompt and critical thinking is trusting AI. There is a question that I have placed somewhere in the transparencies. How do we trust AI? And we trust AI by training ourselves on what kind of questions and the clarity of our questions to the system, plus the critical thinking, which means our knowledge. So it is like, how do we communicate and what knowledge do we have? And together we can trust AI. This is the approach that I follow. Try, now to develop, a very good prompt skills, which is like something like a language. Some tips, some rules of thumbs that I will provide to you is like, be clear and well-defined. And the same rules applies, let's say, on the writing skills. So when we are doing the course journal club and writing skills to our students, we say, like, use verbs and not nouns, because verbs is an action. So you have seen, in the previous exam, explain, define, by an example, by this exam, by pretending, we can say, provide a flipped classroom, explain the flipped classroom approach by an exam, and pretending that you are a physics teacher, that you are an engineer's teacher. So, give, a role to the machine and will follow the perspective that you are looking for. Define the flipped classroom, for example, is going to provide something very generic, but by focusing, by placing filtering to your probe, this is something that from the very beginning will give the tone and the direction of the answer that you are looking for or you would like to be inspired. So you need to be accurate in order to have coherent results. So recommendations to create these effective prompts: define a very clear and specific objective to guide the chatbots. Don't be generic, because the responses are going to be generic. If you are generic at the beginning, of course, you need to define and, filter down. What do you want? However, a good start, we used to say, what we used to say in Greece, the good day, this is very Greek English, so I'm not going to say, but, a good day, appears from the very beginning. Keep your instruction concise and use natural language. What do we mean to use natural language? Use the language as we speak. Again, this is a nice rule that we are providing to students when we are training them on how to write journal manuscripts. Like, do not use passive voice, use active voice. Do not be polite, to the machine, because machine, would like the minimum information. So I'm not going to write a prompt, dear machine or dear ChatGPT, please provide me, the flipped classroom by pretending that you are a teacher professor. Thank you very much. Best regard, Kostas. I mean, we don't need to use extra wording that probably will confuse the machine. Just be direct. And I think in this way, probably the culture, approach will play a significant role on this. But try to be, like I'm speaking to my compatriots, less Mediterranean, be direct on what we would like to do. So avoid to confuse the system. And of course, do not ask something open. For example, trends of education in 2025. It's going to give you, very generic things, or what do you think? Try, to direct, the chatbot on the way that you are going to define to be sufficient in order to obtain coherent responses and to the way that you wish. A lot of times you can define the attention, the style and the tone that you would like to do. A lot of times, as I have said, I receive a lot of emails, what can I say? Me, Kostas, personally, I'm very, how can I say, very Mediterranean, like very explosive. And I'm writing a lot of times now, a lot of emails. I say like, oh, I'm not very polite, but I cannot change my character. However, I can place, the email to ChatGPT or to Claude or whatever I'm using, and I can say, please, keep the meaning, but be more polite, be more diplomatic. And I think that I have changed a lot, my collaboration with my partners because I don't piss them off. But, on the opposite, they try, they collaborate and communicate with me. So you define the style and the tone, use specific words to guide the results and clarify the technical terms that you are looking for. Review your message always before you press the enter. Review what you would like to do. To be more specific, what do we mean? Define a clear objective. Decide what do you want the chatbot to achieve. Keep the message concise, keep it short and to the point. So I mentioned an example, do not put extra wording. Use natural language, use, active voice and not passive voice. Do not complicate the same mistakes we are doing when we are trying to write proposals or to write a paper. We need to be, like Spartans. In Greece, we have the ancient Sparta, to be on the point and do not use extra things. Avoid to confuse that, for example, words with a lot of meaning. So try to avoid this. Provide enough context to the chatbot. What do you want? For example, the examples that I mentioned, the more examples that you would like to do, the role that you would like the chatbot to plays an important role. And of course, as I mentioned, not, answer questions with no direct answer. It depends on the provision and what you would like to do. Be professional, be diplomatic, avoid jargon. This is something also that we apply in the writing skills that we are doing. Before you use an acronym, try, to explain. Otherwise, the system will be confused, and you can try this, when you play around with the prompts. And always review, what you would like to do, the tone, the message to be clear in order to start well. There are a lot of types of prompting, and I will give you some examples. So one type is like prompt A plus prompt B is going to provide prompt C. For example, identify the specific, since, we are doing soft skills, I use this in the ChatGPT, identify the specific soft skills mentioned in the provided text. So what I would like to say a lot of times, and is something that we train by example. I would like to mention this, not only by providing, just in examples, what kind of role the ChatGPT will play, but we can upload our lecture notes. We can upload a document that we define to the ChatGPT, use this document, use this kind of principles, use this kind of priorities in order the ChatGPT to be trained by us. In this way, we avoid, we define the biasing and the resources that we would like our ChatGPT to receive. All right, so we train and then we use the probing. And here is the probing that we would like to say: identify the specific soft skills mentioned in the provided text, summarize their role in the professional and academic context. So I define also the tone, analyze the mechanisms through which these skills can be effectively taught, describe valid methods for evaluating these skills, present the final output as a short formal scientific paragraph suitable for higher education teaching. So we have placed a lot of prompts in order, the system to work. All right. We are using, as you can see, verbs. We are direct. And in this way, this example, we have uploaded the document and we create, our trained system. Elena, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I hope it's okay that I add my 2 cents on the topic. Is it okay?
Please, no, yeah, definitely.
Okay, perfect.
Everyone.
And I would also be happy to share my screen to show the participants when they enter their Moodle with the Moodle credentials. We have created the whole section for you devoted to prompting. So in addition to all the materials from today's session, I want to mention also some of the hows, because Kostas is absolutely right that in order to get something quality from AI, you definitely need to be very, very specific and give the tool lots and lots of context, lots and lots of background information. And it's hard. Like, how do you do it? Do you sit and write a 2-3 page prompt on your own? Like with all you will forget things, right? We are all human. Humans are not AI. We don't really know how to write these extremely long and specific prompts to begin with. So what I'm teaching my students, I teach AI course to my students, teaching them to use AI. So we have started recently talking about never assigning AI a task from the beginning. So those small prompts, explain this, do that, never do that. Instead, in order to reach this stage where you really get a quality prompt that will give you back a quality result from AI, you actually need to engineer the prompt with AI. So the idea here is to switch from the behavior of going into the bot, going into AI and asking for something. Instead of asking and giving it a task, you need to actually begin your conversation with asking it to help you craft the prompt together. Okay, so Kostas, I'll just share my screen for a second to show what I mean.
However, that's why we said that we use examples. In this way, you ask something to do with an example. In this example is your perspective. This is your direction.
Exactly.
And you don't allow the system, the bot, to provide its own perspective. You need to use examples, 1, 2, or 3. That's why we have these different models in order to start the discussion from your point of view.
So I have like two very short prompts to actually help you try this kind of new approach, perhaps to some of you. And the first one is called Ask Me One Question at a Time.
Elena, you are not sharing your screen, to be honest. So do you want me? I have to stop sharing my screen.
No, I'm sharing. I'm sharing.
Yes. We can see.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first very, very short and effective prompt is called Ask Me One Question at a Time until, and then you give the goal until, and then you get you write your task. So the idea here is that you're asking AI to actually interview you, right, with short questions to get enough information to achieve your goal. And this is how you actually write this accurate prompt. And once you get to the point where you have received a quality prompt, I would recommend also saving those prompts and creating a library of prompts. Okay, this is another strategy for all of us academics. Quality prompts are gold, right? They are sometimes sold for money on the internet. So and each one of us can create this real special customized library of prompts. So how do you get to a quality prompt? You actually need to spend some time with AI and ask AI to interview you, to ask you clarifying questions, to get all the information it needs in order for the prompt to be detailed enough to give you good quality output. So let me see if there is something better. So actually this technique turns any kind of vague request into precise and personalized result. And one more thing that I wanted to show you is it's another prompt, and it's another approach which is backed by science. Instead of, again, asking for something specific once, even once you have this perfect prompt, after lots of back and forth with questions, there is another great prompt that I wanted to share and show you. It's called Answer as a First Person. So you're giving AI a task, right, with all the background, all the information that it has about you, and you're asking it to actually perform the search and analysis on the internet as a researcher, as your assistant. But then in the same prompt, you're asking AI to critique itself as a third person analyst, and then finally merge both. So this prompt, this little sentence, can boost any kind of interaction with AI, because not only you're just asking for something very specific when you have come up with your detailed prompt, you're also asking AI immediately to find, the gaps, to critique itself, and then present the results. So this is really, really short and powerful. I'm sharing both in the chat, and I'm stopping here. So I'm gonna give the floor to Kostas back. Sorry for interruption.
No, it's very good. However, I think that using exams and placing a role to the ChatGPT, you save a lot of times. And academics, they are not patient persons. They have a lot of things to do. So I will say that providing exams and providing a role that the ChatGPT you would like the machine to play, you save a lot of time. So with one more thoughtfully, as exactly you say, prompt, you save a lot of time. You should not do 5 questions. I mean, you can construct a prompt from the very beginning, the way that you would like the things to go. And in this way, you save time following the same things as you have said, Elena. So should I share my screen? Do I share my
Yes, please go ahead and share your screen now. I stopped
All
sharing.
right. Okay. All right. So
Okay.
this is, an example that provides, a lot of prompts in order to create something bigger. All right. So there is another kind of, according to the bibliography, there is something else, another kind of prompts. So you place a condition and then a question and then the objective. For example, if the text refers to the communication, of course, you need to upload something first. This is the approach that I'm following in some cases. If the text refers to the communication, explain its cognitive and behavioral components. If it refers to teamwork, outline the mechanisms that enhance group dynamics and collaboration. If it refers to leadership, describe the evidence base. If, and then. Probably, as Elena has mentioned, this could be one task and then you move to the next one. But if you have a clear mind what you would like, you can upload everything and then the system will interact with you. The other one is like compare question 1, topic 1 and question 2. And for example, comparative prompt example, again for the soft skills, compare the development of communication skills with the development of leadership skills in higher education settings. Highlight their cognitive foundation, pedagogical approaches, and evaluation methods. Provide a short formal paragraph that identifies similarities, differences, and their respective impacts on the student performance. In this case, probably I'm taking into the account that in my way of working with AI, I know what I want from the very beginning. And then by the interaction, I'm getting inspired. Of course, if you would like to start, from one task, please, be specific, use a verb, and explain to the system what you would like to do. I found extremely important two things: to provide an example, as an example in the classroom, as an example in the assessment, as an example in the interview, and also to provide, as Ellen, I think, also mentioned, like provide a role to the system. Ask me questions in an interview as an employer. What can provide me questions that this interview position, you can upload the position and they will ask. And in this case, you change the role of the machine in order, to simulate situations. The other one is, of course, argumentative prompt, position, topic to result. For example, construct a short argument on whether soft skills can be systematically taught in higher education environments. Develop, again, another verb. A clear position supported by evidence from educational theory, learning psychology, and empirical studies. Address at least one counter argument and justify why your position remains valid. In this way, you play around and you change again the role of the machine. Professional perspective, explain the importance of integrating structured soft skills training into undergraduate curricula from the perspective of higher educational professionals, discuss how such a training enhances student employability, supports institutional internationalization goals, and aligns the contemporary pedagogical frameworks. These are different perspectives that, prompt and prompt engineering can you provide, and it's up to you to train your own style. I will keep that a prompt is a command of action, so you need to use verb, and this is what we say. Again, I'm using different examples that I'm using on how, when I'm doing the postgraduate student, how to write a paper or how to write a project, we are using, use verbs in order, to be clear. And also, the verbs, acts as, in order to the machine, be direct and also provide a role. What kind of role the machine should be provided. There are a lot of methodologies, however, in order to keep the prompt engineering that you would like to follow. This is the task method. So the T is for task. Define clearly what do you want to do the AI, the audience. You need to specify. Create for me an assessment test for students, an assessment test for staff in order to hire some people and give an exam. So define the audience. It's like how to do a presentation. Am I right? So, the story is the same. So you go somewhere, you would like to present how to make a presentation skills. To whom? To staff or, to students. So this audience will define what kind of messages, what kind of ordering, what kind of verbs you are going to use. The style also, to be polite, to be didactic, to be diplomatic, all right? So the style I mean, probably you would like to create a presentation in front of the management of the university or the management of your company. So the same story with a different kind of verbing or different kind of approach. And of course, the knowledge, what kind of background you train the system, either by your sources, either by pretending that you are to the system. You are a very experienced manager having 20 years experience in software engineering. I mean, these are the things that you need to define the machine. You have an intelligent person in front of you, and you try to discuss, as Elena has mentioned. Another thing that I found out in Göteborg during the EAIE conference is another approach of the probing, another method which says the same story, different branding, maps. The mission, what outcome or do we want from the AI, the audience again, the place, which factors affect the mission. I mean, if you are in front, for example, management, or if you are in front of a conference, or if you are in front in the classroom, or in front of the social media. I remember that when we are doing presentation skills, we ask the students the same story to your grandmother, the same story to the governor, the same story to your professor. The same story can be said in a different ways. So you provide, what do you want in the role that the machine should play, and how do we ensure accuracy, inclusivity, data protection, and accountability. This is for us regarding this method. So these are the different prompts, just as a review. Before I move, is like how can we trust a non-expert trust the AI, the probing, and the critical thinking? Can AI be used for grading? Is there any value in this? I would say there are a lot of values. First of all, AI, and I will show you how to create, you need to create this kind of, how do we say, the scoring that you would like to use.
The rubric.
The rubric, yes, thank you. It's very fair. The rules that you are going to place, these are the rules that the machine will evaluate. I have to say to you that a lot of times I am biased when I'm correcting papers, because I remember the students that they participate in the classroom, but for various reasons, a lot of students, they cannot participate. However, I'm more biased. If I know someone that he has tried, I will be more positive. I'm already biased, but the machine is not biased. So I will place the rule, I will place the rubric, and the system will evaluate. There is no effect of the evaluator tiredness. I mean, the system does not feel any tiredness, and can make it when you program it. Excellent work. Of course, you need, also to cross-check, but it's doing excellent work. And it has a values when we have to do a very big classroom. However, we need to, how can I say, we need to create specific assessment tests in order the system to work with us. Multiple choice questions helps, open type questions helps. The different LMS systems, you can integrate, this kind of rubric, and you can integrate this with the LMS. Now, if we are going to do other things that AI is good as a teaching assistant, I can say that, as we will see, personalized students learning. During the weekend, I have a Nigerian student, and the student is a little bit weak in optoelectronics and laser. He's a postgraduate student. So I was struggling, 2 weeks ago, in order, to teach him, some things fundamental in optics that as a postgraduate student should know. What I have done, I have uploaded all my lecture notes in the chatbot. I have uploaded, I don't say to the other people, but I have uploaded a book, open access book, however, that I'm using for lasers. And I have created a personalized chatbot. I describe the profile of the student, and I share this chatbot, personalized chatbot, with a specific student. And I say, like, between our courses, any questions that you have, ask it. If you are not happy with this, come to me before we start our face-to-face. So I have a 24-hour chatbot tailored, to my lecture notes, to my outcomes. I have informed the chatbot about the outcomes that I would like to achieve for the profile of this student. All right. So I'm looking forward, to meet my student next week in order to identify his perspective. Of course, there are already available chatbots. I think that this is on Elena's session that provides also feedback on the questioning. So if you do a mistake, it tailors, the next question. And this is something very personalized and something that we would like to apply. So I will, as I told you, I can identify the areas where the student is weak, and I will share with you also my laser physics assistant in order to play around. And if you don't know lasers, this is the time for you to learn. Another thing is like we mentioned about the previous kind of approaches. I found very interesting when we do international weeks, for example, we have Excel sheets with professors and participants from various disciplines, from various countries. So I can place, this information, to the ChatGPT or to whatever I'm using, and I can categorize the answers that I'm looking for. So how many participants do we have from Nigeria? How many participants we have from Greece? How many participants do we have as an administrators? How many participants are professors in international relations? So, this helps me, to categorize and, sorting out by demographics, my background. We have developed, and I would like to run through AI before a semester, a chatbot for internationalization. So we have spread to more than 200 students that they have participated in the internationalization a questionnaire. And the questionnaire took specific backgrounds, the profile of the families, let's say educational level, the background of the family's internationalization, the profile of other students that they have done internationalization, combined with the characteristics of the particular students that they answered this kind of question. And at the end, the system provided a prediction, what are the percentage of a student in order to do internationalization from the first day in our university. We have an accuracy using AI, but I would like to use chatbots now of 75%, all right? So I knew by the system 75% from the moment that I had the information of the incoming student, what is the percentage for this student to do internationalization? I mean, what can I do? I can do a lot of things, because then I can go to this profile of the students and I can tailor the info days, the training that I will provide to them in order to attract them to use internationalization. So, I mean, you can do a lot of things regarding demographics. For example, suggested prompts for this is how might college students at the University of X respond to this announcement. All right, so you can upload things and you can ask, this kind of questions. What are the 10 reaction objections the editor of X might have to an article Y or on a proposal from Z? I will give you an example. Now we have these Erasmus calls, all right? So the Erasmus calls, they are a PDF, but they have specific objectives. So you can go to your ChatGPT, you can upload, this kind guides, and you can say, I have this idea. I have this kind of, how can I say, motivation. I would like to achieve this, this, and this with these actions. How close I am with the objectives of this call with these ideas. And the system will using, the training material that you have used, and, by saying to them, pretend that you are an evaluator, all right? And, the guideline has the criteria. What is your evaluation for this? So we can use fundamental, speaking right now to you, a ChatGPT, a personalized ChatGPT, like as what? As a grant office. Am I right? Because we can train the way that we want, how strict you would like to be, what's your threshold regarding evaluation, as a pre-evaluation of any proposal. So you can use it even, writing paper. You have your manuscript. These are the criteria. These are the objectives of nature electronics. What do you think? And you can have a first feedback, from the system. The more, however, exams, the more information you place, the better. So you can use it in various ways, as I mentioned here, grant application, etc. You can predict things. I mean, we're using this through the analytics, of the LMS. But these analytics, they can go to the ChatGPT as, as an Excel sheet, as a CSV, in order, the system, to predict us, what are the difficulties? Or, let's say something else. We have, the results of an exam, for many years. In one course, I'm teaching physics too, I don't know, for 20 years. So I have all the results. I have all, the exam papers. I can provide to the system, the papers, in PDF of my students, and I can ask them, what are the main difficulties that you identify as a student or as a teacher regarding these exams or the exams of 10 years? The system will provide me a feedback. And this is very useful for me because it will change my pedagogy, the way that I'm teaching, or it will work as a radar, as an alarm for me, what kind of terms I should use better. So, I mean, you can compare and predict, suggest, or provide clarity about a new problem or a project. I mean, can we promote internationalization in Hellenic Mediterranean University among professors that they don't have motivation for various reasons and that the motivation to participate in internationalization? So the system can provide me, a feedback on this. Analyze, as I mentioned, exam results, investigate, think, and complete your work as a faculty teacher. I mentioned also this. Another example of probing regarding, teaching assistant provide 10 innovative ideas for how to introduce college students to topic X in class Y using examples or analogies they will find relevant. And you can provide examples on this. What might be unclear about these instructions to college here at the type of this university, comprehensive applied science. So these are the things that I have placed, reading a lot of papers or reading, books in order, to share with you. Let's move to understand students' needs and preferences, to foresight students' progress, based on the learning analytics that we are trying to upload. If a student has missed the 3 first sessions, the first 5 sessions in my physics course, what the result shows, these students will fail to appear again, or will have so much success in order, to pass the exams. You can simulate conversation with students. For example, you will say, I have done this, a lot of things in virtual exchange that we are doing here with colleagues, Elena, Samia, and other people. Like, create for me, I have a soft skills course in 8:30 in time skills, in time management. So I have my material, and probably I will say to you, what kind of discussion should I start this course, pretending that I'm a student, what my students they would like. A student, an undergraduate student in Greece in electronic engineering. The more information. Then, the system will inspire me. So simulate conversation with students, or simulate the students to simulate conversation with their professor. So pretend that you are my professor, and I have to present my thesis, and you upload your thesis. What kind of question? Start to do a viva for me. And the system start to do, questions to you, and you need to respond, and the system respond again. So you can simulate this conversation. This is a little bit, blown your mind. But as you will see, now AI is used also to provide support, psychological support, as a tutor, to our students. I will show you a very recent result of Harvard Business Review on this. Program answer common question and provide real-time assistance. I think that this is something that we have seen. Can spot students' responses to provide personalized insights. I will show you, and I think as I mentioned, Elena will give you some specific tools on this. Make your assignments more interactive. I mean, you can upload your assignments, you say, more interactive to undergraduate students. Undergraduate students with no background in maths, with weak background in maths. These are the things that you can do through your probing to operate as a tutor, as a student. This is something, and also rubrics. There are a lot of rubrics. There are a lot of nice rubric collection in the AAC and American Association of Colleges and Universities. I will place in the Moodle platform rubrics for engineers, rubrics for social sciences, rubrics for physics, in order to be able to use specific rubrics on the evaluation. These are more examples about probing that helps you to interface with the students. For example, can you make the email to students sound kinder and more caring? Which part of those instructions, if you have uploaded the instructions, is most likely to be misunderstood from the student's perspective, from the academic perspective? Again, a lot of things that probing can do. alter your voice and the tone, improve your cultural competencies. A lot of times that we say like, I have done this. Again, this will stay between us. This Nigerian student, I was a little bit tough. I say like, oh, you should know this. This is not nice to say anyhow, to be honest. But, the student, gave me, a very nice perspective. And look, I'm trying, just be, patient with me, and I'm learning. And this is probably a cultural behavior. So, I have placed, like they provide me feedback, that I respect this kind of culture, of students. All right. So also this can improve also the competency. So you can say like how to present this idea or this approach as an idea to German professors, to Swedish professors, to Slovenian professors, to the Greek professors. You will see that the story is the same but different. So student assistant, in order to provide human being, and I would like you to say, and also Elena will provide you this humanistic, way of AI tools that we are using, but people start to believe, AI. And I will say, have you seen, there is a nice advertisement in the Greek television about the feedback that the AI provides in a specific bank. And they say like, this is the way that banks should be more human. And in some cases, AI tools, regarding the teaching approaches as your personalized chatbot and your assistants, they are more human than we are, at least I am. So I'm, you cannot find me. Sometimes when I'm tired, I'm a little bit rude, I think, to my students. I say the next time, or, come 7 o'clock in the morning. AI, my personalized AI, is definitely more human and more friendly than me, all right? Because, can respond the way that I have trained it, for me, my standards, to my students, and then, my students, they can come in order to discuss. And this is what I would like to say to you. This is from Harvard Business Review 2025 about AI and the use cases. And you can see in 2024, and you can see in the 2025, how, the people are using AI as a teaching assistants in order to support their students. And you can see that the ordering has changed. Now, therapy and companions. I'm not going to say other things that they are doing because, probably we agree, probably we disagree. This is not a course. This is something that we discuss. You keep it, you reject it. This is something that we are doing, but you can see the different roles regarding teaching, about AI tools. And the first one now is like communication and support for our students. So either we are very busy, either our students are very busy, either we have to change the approach that we are doing, but it will provide a very, let's say, humanistic type of assistance. And this is also, again, different things. Vafula, please stop writing, and you can keep it later on. So AI is something, an assistant for us, very trained as we want, and also we can define to be more polite, to be more, like specific, to provide more generic, kind of example. This is, we train it. We co-develop our AI. That's why at the very beginning in the first lecture, I say like the probing defines on how to use the file, in a constructive way or in a destructive way. So, so these are some more props, regarding the communication with the students. As I said, like these are the things that I will place to the Moodle with you. And let me do one more thing before we end this this session. I will continue these teaching assistant activities. AI can trigger brainstorm new question structures and entry points for classroom discussions. People, they remember two things. Remember, I say with Samia, I think that I have this discussion. People during a presentation, during the lecture, they remain two things: stories and numbers. All right? Either you have numbers, or you can upload numbers and you can say to AI, present these numbers in a more friendly and understandable way to our undergraduate students against the probing, or you can upload, you can discuss with the AI to create you a personalized or a story about a topic that you would like to develop. So, the first approach with the classroom is something that, gains the people or not, or create, these interaction activities, etc. And also AI learns from us. So if we don't like something, as Elena has mentioned, we come back. We come back, we come back. Probably we test something and we came back. We can customize based to our probing, our ChatGPT or whatever we are using, our model that we are using. So iteration also very important. For example, here from a course from Stanford, AI is an example generator. Create and counter example of an evolutionary failure for this strategy. Provide examples from 10 different cultures. Design regarding the stereotypes, for example. I mean, I think that, some of these examples need a further explanation. Design analogies that might be relevant for today's college students, engineering majors, or first-generation students, and etc., with a little bit more definition. So this also can be an example, can be a provoking question that we are going to use during the opening of a session, even to the face-to-face classroom. So it's a trainer, even for us. Activity design, and I think that I will close with activity design, and the next time I will go to the curriculum, to the lecture, and the values and assessment activities, for example. Generate an interactive role-playing game class activity for a class on physics course on majors that addresses learning goal, how to teach Gauss law, for example. All right? Or today that I have the time management, let's say lecture, generate an interactive role as a manager, playing a game class activity for class on soft skills in course on postgraduate students or in Erasmus students that addresses the learning goal, how to manage your time, an example that comes to my mind. So suggest ways to break up this lecture content with mastery exercises, practice, active learning. These are other things. Design a complex task, and you define what do you mean complex task. Because they're generic now, on topic physics 2, for a group of undergraduate students with very medium math literacy, for example, that will require students to divide roles and work together, or create some tasks during the time management skills that students, they can work in the virtual rooms. So you can design the activities before the class. The machine, because it borrows your material or other material, can provide you very inspirational activities that you are doing. More probes regarding this, and more probes regarding design activities. I'm not going to take everything. And, since I have 7 minutes, I will cover this. Better assignments. Suggest 10 ways to make this assignment more motivating to students. So you have your assignment. I will say today, one of the assignments that I have to them is like apply the rule urgent, non-urgent, important, non-important for undergraduate students in engineering with backgrounds from vet education, for example. So suggest 10 ways to make this assignment more motivating and more interactive. The system, will provide me something. Here are some ideas for improving this assignment. So you place something, use those to revise the assignment. So you place the assignment I say like, more interactive, like, probably, switch on the cameras, use the board in the Zoom. So suggest me, more things, right? So you can use it. And also there is like, some kind of testing, of this assignment, ask better questions. So task appropriate, will AI add value or just replace thinking? So you define your kind, what you would like to do. The push-up test, will this make me stronger or just save effort? And so you can use this for your exam to evaluate the answer as a trainer as well. Test creation, feedback, and grading. As I mentioned, before you use it for grading, two things that I would like to, and I will stop here if we have some questions, for 3-4 minutes. Upload the rubric. You need to have a rubric. You need to have the criteria of your evaluation. Don't let the machine do whatever they want. You need to train the machine. What are the evaluation criteria? Rubric helps, 1 to 5, and what do you mean? Also be transparent to them that when you present the things, that say to them that, I had the assistance of AI. In case of a mistake will happen, you are very transparent. However, you need to cross-check everything in order to be sure. the more details and the more control way of feedback that you are going to provide, the better. So multiple choice questions probably is more appropriate using AI and using rubrics in order to identify their response, or even open type questions. The rubric also to be specific, less specific. These are the things that AI can be trained from your instructions. So study guide, review questions, and various exam formats is something AI can generate a high quality test. AI also can customize the problems of the test. I mentioned the example of my Nigerian student and what kind of weaknesses. So we would like to adapt our testing to students, but also to the learning objectives that we would like to achieve. I will say that AI can do something that I was reading in the newspaper on Sunday. Why students they are using AI for cheating? Because we overload them. So if we have a very tough, let's say a very tough final exam, the students, they are going to use AI if they have the chance in the classroom in any place of the world. However, if we are doing frequent testing, and if we divide the learning outcomes to frequent tests, the students they are going to feel more relaxed, to use their knowledge in specific and build, as a Lego they are learning. So I will say that AI can build very high quality tests, can help to reduce cheating if you are going to use it in a smart way. And I will say frequent testing shows this. As I mentioned here, this is a great example. And AI also can help us, to upload the test and, upload our learning outcomes and say like, can you please change or suggest, this test to address the most important things based on these learning outcomes, and AI will create you a test, and then it's up to you what you are going to accept and what you are going to modify. But AI has this overall capacity, is not tired in order to help you on this. So create a multiple choice question that addresses the most important concepts. With more iteration, you are university faculty writing a midterm for students in introductions to laser class. Here are my course objectives. As I remember, I have uploaded them. What else do you need to know to finalize the test? Try it again with more questions about the building blocks of laser systems. So I'm doing more focused on this in order to address a specific priority. And I think with this, I will stop. I don't have time. As I say, we would like to keep you an hour. These are our suggestions, and it's up to you if you have any questions or disagreements. I mean, it's nice to have disagreements because we are not going to agree whatever we are presenting here. At least, I'm presenting my point of view. I will upload, the transparencies to the Moodle platform in order to use them or use a different probing. We have 2 minutes. If you have any suggestion, any disagreements, I can see again the nice glasses of my friend Ioannis Sfendurakis. And Sfendurakis works for me like an AI, inspired me. The floor is yours. If you have any questions, how to connect to the Moodle platform. I think that if you have registered to course, I have sent you all the material.
Yeah, I will support the
participants
who need that next week. It's just,
Probably we need to interview my colleague Nikos Panoudakis, because we would like to have interviews from experts, like by profession in the AI. So probably Nikos, we are going to interview, or we can create a roundtable discussion with the help of Kostas next time, or within the framework of this course, online roundtable discussion about the, the position or the ideas on how to use AI. Hi, Athina Patelaru. I have to respond to you in email. I will do it, but I was traveling. Now I remember, a lot of things. Anyhow, this is, from my side. If there are no questions, I don't know. I cannot see that. I cannot see the chat. But if this is the case, I would like to thank you. Next time we will continue with the curriculum design, props, examples, with the lecture design. I will provide you how I'm using it. If you agree, you're using this way. If you don't disagree, if you disagree, come and say your opinion. Ioannis Fendurakis. Anastasia, I'm teasing him. So thank you. Take care. And we will upload everything to you. I will say also a Brazilian colleague As I said, you would like to create a community. He's doing some research about AI. Is Kyria Finardi is a very, I mean, in her topic, a professor that they are doing virtual exchanges a lot. She is doing a research about AI as an academic. I will send you the questionnaire that she would like to answer. It's up to you. And then she's going to present us her results in front of us. So Nikolos Petrakis as well. Have a nice night, all of you, and take care.
Thank
Bye.
you so much. Thank you,
Next week.
Pastor.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you very much. See you
Thanks.
next
Goodbye.
week.
Bye. To next week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Ms. Elena.